Good evening. It's so wonderful to see familiar faces, and welcome to the new people. Well done on getting here. I do believe you'll get great value from all the different opinions and different approaches. So I am Dr. Barbara Johnson, and I am based in South Africa. And South Africa has this amazing philosophy at the moment around load shedding. Load shedding is where we lose our electricity for several hours at a time. So if I fall off come 8 o'clock tonight, you'll know where I've gone. Okay, so I am situated in a city that is very beautiful. I'm on the Delta Strait, which is very beautiful from a nature perspective, and very conducive to the work that I do. The work I do is trauma counseling, life coaching. I work with trauma, transformation, and transcendence across companies and individuals, teams, and private people. Tonight's topic is a topic that is dear to my heart: self-mastery. Very often people ask us, why or how do we possibly get to a place of self-mastery? Well, I hope I shared some good ideas for you. I'm going to share my screen. Oops, let's do that again. Have I shared screen?
No, Barbara.
There we go. Thank you. There we go.
Now we see. Now
we see. Perfect. Let's get rid of this. And we start at the beginning. Okay. Self-mastery. That growing ability. Notice the word ability. It's conscious and it's an action, and it becomes a strength. It becomes an ability, a capacity that we create within ourselves. The growing ability to consciously live into life from a place of peace, order, and design. Those are my words, by the way. Words that I believe are pertinent to how we take on life, so that we feel that we have self-mastery, some form of control, some form of value-based, some form of self-discipline, self-motivation, peace, order, and design. So, self-mastery, what are these habits that will influence our conditioning, our mindset, our actions, and our results? What habits do we put in place on a day-by-day basis that gives us that sense of peace, order, and design? Habits that will recondition the brain, recondition that information that was set to us by our parents, our churches, our governments, our schools, etc. What do we do for ourselves that make us feel like we have self-mastery in our lives? So the mindset is encouraged by experiential knowingness. When you have experienced something, you have authority over that experience, and that authority gives you a sense of knowingness, a knowingness that aids and helps us into self-mastery. Nobody can take that away from you. The way you perceive, experienced, your experience is yours. Nobody can tell you it's right or wrong. Nobody can tell you anything about it. That's yours. It belongs to you. Actions We are talking about actions, but I'm talking more about implementation. So it's all very well talking about habits, but if we don't implement the habits that are dear to us on a day-by-day basis, we then have nothing much to fall back on, because by any token, it's just a lot of words. It's just a lot of ideas. It's just a lot of nothingness, actually. So when we do have habits of self-mastery, when we create for ourselves a space of habits that we feel aid us in our self-mastery, our results become more reliable. But I want to throw a cat amongst the pigeons. Oh, I seem to have lost. Let's move that. Okay, this is what I believe. The magic lies in the process. Too often, we are taught to set a goal, to get a result, to do the actions for that result, to create the mindset for those actions, for that result, change the conditioning for that mindset, for those actions, for that result. But we forget a very important piece, and that is the process. So if we set a goal, all very well, but the learning, the enjoyment, the pleasure, the process is where we get the best blossoming of ourselves, where we get the best self-mastery. It's in the process of doing A, B, and C today, tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow. It's the process. So when I walked the El Camino in Europe, Portugal and Spain, the process was to walk it day by day, by day, by day. It's all very well starting. Day 1, 2, and 3 are easy. What happens about day 9 and day 12 and day 17 and day 35? Now that's a process, a learning, an evolving, an experience. Self-mastery requires from ourselves an internal process, an internal finding, an internal exploration of the meaning of life for us. The meaning of life for us. So if we go into business, we are in business, we develop business, we go into partnerships with business. What is the meaning of that? What are the values of that? So that when I get out of bed every morning, I know that there's a purpose. And what is the purpose of today and today and today and today? Are you seeing the patterning here? Processes are patterns. And the pattern, the consistency, is where our strength lies, is where our ability, capacity grows, so that we can eventually have the fulfillment that we're looking for. And I go back to this idea that it's not about the result or the outcome, but it's more about the process, what unfolded in me doing day by day, by day, by day. Those simple actions, for instance, El Camino, that step by step by step. The fulfillment was 35 days down the line that I had walked El Camino, that I had done what I thought was not possible. I had gone over with health problems. So the result of 35 days was an even greater gratitude for the process. For the process brought to me the opportunity to go way beyond myself, way beyond my expectation. And hence the value of the process, because it will give you something bigger, better, and probably in a shorter time frame than you think it's going to be. So we all live into our own unique life circumstances. And I'm telling us, I'm telling you, I'm telling me always daily that there is a process. And in that process, no matter what it is that you're going through in your unique life circumstance, that there is a way to find meaning, there's a way to find your purpose, and there's a way to find your fulfillment. That feeling that you know, that you know, and that you know thyself. So some of my habits for self-mastery. Certain things I do every day. For instance, the first thing I do is make sure that all my hygiene issues are taken care of, and I drink lots of water. So first thing in the morning, I drink 2 glasses of water, and then I go and I clear the kitchen. I always clear the kitchen and drink 2 more glasses of water. Just by the way, a little hint about water. Sometimes if you drink it a little bit warmer than cold, it's easier to drink. And especially now with you in the northern hemisphere of the globe, you got your freezing cold winters. That warm could be even hot. Whatever way you get that water in, get the water in. And herbal teas actually are considered as water as well. Water is a vital necessity to help the brain, to help the circulation, to help the warmth of your body. It works across all systems of the body. To aid the body again, stretch. Go and have a stretch. Take a mat in the bedroom if you have to, in the lounge, wherever you've got a bit of space, and stretch your body. Do you realize that we are the only animals on the planet that don't stretch before we move? The cats, the dogs, every other animal stretches. We jump out of bed and we presume our body's going to move with ease, and sometimes it just doesn't. I alluded to the last one here in the order of the home and the office too. Yes, one of the first things I do is I make sure my kitchen and my office space is beautiful. I don't work in anything that's untidy or stale or uncomfortable. Everything has to be fresh, windows have to be open, flowers brought in, and I make my home and my office space a space that I want to be in, an environment where I feel happy. Very simple ideas, very simple. But again, it's that routine, that consistency of every day. And that gives you a sense of mastery because it's in your control. I'm going to share with you probably one of my most favorite tools of self-mastery, and that is journaling. But this journaling has a slight twist to it. It is the journaling of my wins in the day. I have a little book, and this little book goes with me with a pen around my office, around my home. And during the day, I make notes of what are the wins I am having. Now, your wins could be different to my wins. My wins are pertinent to me. Yours are pertinent to you. So As of today, I had the most fantastic business meeting with a group of same-minded business people. We come together and we learn through each other's experiences. My win, my take home, that's a good way of putting it. What is your take home? What is the value that you found? My take home today from that business meeting was that I had awakened my brain, that I had felt excited again, that I had felt refreshed and looking forward to 2023. What does it look like in my little book? Well, I always start with the date. The date, the one and only 15th of December 2022. I color it in, I make it big, I play with it, I consciously admit to it, I acknowledge it, create it. I consciously get involved with the day's energy. What energy will I bring into this day? What does that number 15 December 2022 mean to me? A birthday could pop up into my mind. An anniversary, a story, whatever it does for you. The number 15 is in numerology is important too. Play with that idea. So what I do is I just jot down the wins of the day. So for instance, in my case, I wrote in my book, I said, the inner circle meeting that I went to today awakened me, and I'm feeling excited about my interactions with Lisa. She and I are going to do some work next year together, training in trauma, in transformation and transcendence into the educational field of South Africa. I'm very excited about that. That's a win. That having that conversation is valuable to me. It's a win. And I write it down. Note the word write. I have a whole lot of color pens. I use color pens because it inspires the brain. And the actual writing it down triggers in the brain something that even the synapses do a whole lot more with. So not only does the water, not only does the writing, not only does the visualization of my wins help the synapses, it concretizes something in that whole brain structure. Something very important. I actually learned this today. When we do not acknowledge the energy of our wins, that energy is stored in the body. And just like stagnant water, I don't know if you've ever seen a river or a pond go stagnant. It's stinky. It has mosquitoes. It is unpleasant to be near. So imagine when you suppress the winds into your body. Well, science is telling us that that suppression then explodes. Depression, despair, despondency, sense of trauma, sense of sadness, sense of guilt, sense of loss, sense of loneliness. My word, is this not worth it? Of course, it's worth it. Absolutely worth it. Those few minutes, if you're like me, I do it during the day. Because why do I do it during the day? Because when I do it during the day, my energy is lifted and lifted and lifted. Just like I spoke earlier about this day by day by day. Your energy is lifted and lifted and lifted, not only today, but tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. Evening habits, I close off my workspace, my home and my office. Consciously, I put them to rest so that I have a headspace to go into family fun. If I haven't done my wins, I do them then at the end of the day. I give myself some time to pray or meditate. Again, all about looking for that space within ourselves of peace, order, and design. And to reflect on the meaning of my life, my meaning of this day, the purpose of this day, and that fulfillment of this day. There's a nice little recap of those words that I've used for you. A nice way of checking in with yourself every day. So I am Dr. Barbara Johnson. I'm known as the People Developer, and I'm very much looking forward to having some time with you in the near future.